Okay, so now, okay, so Maniac was successful. Okay, you hit it out of the park. Okay, so at that time, was this like your calling card? You go, hey, now I can move on to bigger and better things.
I can scalp people all over the
No,
place.
no, not
Yeah.
scalping people. I mean,
Yeah.
first of all, I'm sure there was a little baggage from, well, this is the guy who did Maniac, but
Well, actually, funny enough, I had offers to make movies.
mhm,
I had an offer from William Morris to represent me. There was a project at Warner that they wanted me to direct and all this, but I really loved being an independent. I loved being able to not have anybody to answer to.
mhm,
And as crazy as it is, I probably I might have had a different career had I taken the road, like a lot of my other colleagues did,
mhm.
of working in mainstream Hollywood. But I decided I want to stick it out myself and make movies and produce and direct and because I just loved it. It was a high. It was a high to go to Cannes and sell your movie that you made for $135,000 and walk out with $1 million in contracts. It was just, it's such a feeling of accomplishment. And so that's why when I did my next film, I just decided I'm going to do it myself again. We'll do it the same thing we did before, and we did the movie Vigilante.
Right.
Vigilante.
Robert Forster.
Yeah.
Right. And one thing about your movies too is you assemble the best cast of like character actors. I mean, you just have great people in your movies. You really do.
Well, I love actors, and I've always loved particularly character actors. I was always drawn to them, and so I do think about that.
I mean, Vigilante you had Robert Forster, Fred Williamson, Joe Spinell, Carol Lindley, Woody Strode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I actually put in the script for the character Woody Strode. So it was in the script.
That's great. And it was kind of like in a way your Death Wish, your version of Death Wish a little bit. I mean,
Yes, it was. Of course, it was an urban retribution film,
Right.
and Death Wish is the granddaddy of all urban retribution films. But it was by way of wanting it to stylistically be something like a spaghetti western. So it was thematically the same. It was in the same genre, but from a creative standpoint, the stylistically, we wanted it to be like a spaghetti western,
but like in an urban setting.
an urban spaghetti western.
Wow, that's awesome. Yeah.
And that was my thinking on it.
Now was that because that was your next film right after Maniac? Was
Yes.
that successful too?
It was, but it was not as immediately financially successful for us because our distributor in the U.S. went bankrupt.
Oh, wow.
And that's a story in of itself. I don't even want to get into it.
No.
But they went bankrupt. And we also had a problem in that when Reagan took office, there was a shift in the dollar exchange overseas.
Oh.
And so what happened is we had all these contracts for the film
Yeah.
that was suddenly worth about a third less
No.
than we had when we had signed the contracts, because they were tied to the exchange rate
Oh my God.
at the time of the signing. So we lost. So so in the short term, it was a difficult movie. It took us truly about 10 years to break even.
Did home video help that?
Jeez. Yeah, by that point the video was.
Well, here's what happened: is the distributor that went bankrupt sold it to home video without having the rights to sell to home
No.
video.
What?
And it was at the time we found out about the home video deal that this distributor went in parts unknown.
God.
I see.
Yeah,
Man.
it was terrible. And we sued Vestron. It was just,
Oh wow.
it was ugly.
Okay.
I spent a lot of time on wooden benches in courtrooms trying to reclaim my movie.
But
Wow.
you kept moving forward. You kept moving forward.
I did, but I got to tell you, it did put a little wind out of my sails.
Yeah.
And so there was a gap.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit more time passed before
yeah,
the next one.
between Vigilante and Maniac.
Yes.
Right.
There was a gap. I think I went through a bit of a, I was in my 20s. I went through, I'm not infallible. I'm not as, I may not be the genius I might think I was, or people were telling me I was, and all that stuff.
Started to second thought those
Yeah,
decisions about Warner Brothers
Yeah, I
and
was starting-
William Morris. Maybe I should have.
Oh God, second thoughts.
Don't get me
I
started.
could have had a T-shirt of second thoughts. But I was just going through a weird period of just, I really hadn't had an adolescence. I was always working.
Yeah.
And so there I am in my 20s. I'm feeling a little vulnerable. I'm just feeling so it was a weird situation. I mean, fortunately, it's funny. Vigilante, much to my delight, has continued to resonate with audiences.
Really?
And yeah, it does. It kind of surprises me. It's not of course as big as Maniac is today.
Yeah.
But Vigilante constantly gets played. I'm doing an appearance as an example at Alamo Drafthouse in Yonkers, New York, where they're screening Vigilante. But Alamo Drafthouse has screened it multiple times at different.
Right. It's a good no nonsense, lean and mean exploitation.
And there are people that enjoy those films, and they don't make them anymore.
Yeah, they don't.
You're right.
And so it's a film which really captures that genre at that time.
Right.
And Robert Forster is one of those really kind of sympathetic but underutilized character actors.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
And it's one of my favorite genres too, the revenge flick.
I will tell you that Robert Forster wasn't the original actor I cast. The original actor I cast was Tony Musante.
Oh yeah,
and
from Birth to Crystal Plumage.
From Birth to Crystal Plumage. Yeah. And for the role that Fred played, I had Leon Isaac Kennedy.
Oh wow. Okay.
And for different reasons, Tony Musante's case, we had already started to. We started pre-production, and we were meeting with him and stuff, but without going into too many details, there was nothing really salacious or anything, but he just appeared to us to be a little wacky, a little unstable.
Really?
Yeah.
Just a little, we felt as though this could be a problem.
Right.
And then we started to hear his reputation and why he wasn't maybe working as much as he could. And we decided to pull our offer from Tony Musante. And we were scrambled, and it turned out my friend, Frank Pesh, he was in a movie called 29th Street. It's actually about him. I don't know if you guys ever saw it. Anyway, Frank Pesh, you'll see him pop up in Stallone's films and things like that. He's a pal of Stallone. He called me up just asking what's going on with Vigilante, looking for his role in the movie, of course. And I said, well, we just had it separated with Tony Musante. Anyway, turns out he knew Bob Forster, or he knew somebody who knew Bob Forster. I said he would be great.
So that was the first time you worked with Forster.
Oh yeah, first time I met him was on really literally a couple of days before we started shooting.
This is a sturdy, reliable actor.
And as a friend, we are still friends to this day. We still see each other on a regular basis. We have dinner. Maybe once every.
Have him come over here. We'll
buy him dinner.
We're really close friends. I consider him a dear close friend. Well, but he was in it, and I think with Leon it was a financial thing. Yeah. And we brought in Fred Williamson, and it really turned out to be again serendipity rules.
Totally.
And as you said, that is a constant in all these films. The great casts you guys get.
Yeah.